Okay, good evening, everyone. So excited tonight. We're doing a really fun thing. We're going to do a Zoom call, partner up with my sideline, Kymber Williams, Emerald Kymber Williams. She lives in Colorado, and we connected, Amber and I, both connected with Kymber just through hearing her on I think it was a Diamond Destination Diamond call we've done, and it was posted on our on Christine's team page. Do you like this little echo?
Yeah. Let me mute myself. Can you mute Crystal?
Yes, I just did. Okay, maybe that was doing it, you think?
Perfect.
Okay, I'm sorry. So I'll start that again. So, okay, Kymber and I formed a relationship. We're sidelines. Kymber is on a different team, and Kymber lives in Colorado. She's an Emerald with Plexus, and I think before she was an Emerald even, she did this really amazing team call that we had gotten to listen to, and I think we shared on our team page. I know we did, and it was very inspirational, very motivational, and she talked about growing up with her mom and how her mom had played a key part in just building belief in her. She'd grown up in another network marketing, and just amazing entrepreneur that her mom had really inspired Kymber. And I'm going to let them tell their story, but we're just so thankful to come together with Kymber's team tonight and do this Zoom call, our team and Kymber's team together, just representing one Plexus and how we support each other. And I know Amber and I just love Kymber dearly, and she's just been an amazing support and encouragement to us. And she cheered me on to Emerald, and so it's just very exciting, and I can't wait to see her in Hawaii. So I just am going to let you take it away, Kymber, and introduce your mom, Penny Kelly, to us.
Okay. So let's see. I was trying to think about how I want to introduce my mom. And, as I said in the post is, really honestly, I feel like everybody should pay to be around her. Because you will get something from her no matter who you are. I don't know if that makes sense. But she's amazing. As I was telling you before, as I wrote in the post before, is that I feel like whenever somebody leaves her space, that they always leave feeling encouraged and feeling like a better person. And, she's very focused on helping other people, even if it's just a little tiny tidbit, asking a question, asking people what their dreams are. And it's so fun to watch. But a couple of things about her. So she has been in Mary Kay for the total of 39 years. The first time she was the youngest sales director ever to earn a car, and she was super young, and she ended up quitting at that time because she found that her priorities were out of balance, that she was eating, sleeping, breathing Mary Kay. I don't know if she's going to talk about this. Okay. So she actually quit, resigned her directorship, which is a really big deal. And she said, I'm never going to come back to this unless I know it's God and unless I know my priorities can be in order. So she did that. Were you out like 7 or 8 years? 7. They were out for 7 years, and then they weren't going to have kids, and then they decided to have kids. And so they had me and my brother, and my mom knew she was supposed to come back to Mary Kay. So she has been in Mary Kay. I grew up in a Mary Kay home, and it was just the best home to grow up in. The other thing to tell you about my mom is that once you hear her, I think a lot of times that you see somebody like her and you think that their life has been, I always say like gold has been falling off them their whole life, but she did not grow up in a home of dreaming. She did not grow up in a home where somebody else taught her that. This is really it's really who she is. I feel like it's innate in her that the things that she teaches, the things that people get from her, it's who she is. And it really is because of her choices in life. So the things that she's learned, she's really learned from experience. experience. She's learned from, I mean, helping thousands and thousands of women. So I don't know if that makes sense, but she and my dad, when they got married, they had barely had enough money to, how much did Dad make? $300 a month. Mm-hmm. My dad was a school teacher and made $300 a month. And she would say my grandpa would give them $20 to go out to eat at times. And they, after 7-8 years of marriage, they started their furniture store out of their garage at their house, and it's now the largest used furniture store in Colorado. So I just want to tell you all that. I don't know if she'll brag on herself about that stuff, but they really, and I know that the furniture store, my dad mainly runs it, but my mom is that strong force behind the man. And I know that our store, it's not my store, that their store is what it is because of her and her work ethic and what she's taught us. So I am just so excited to have her on here. One other thing I want to mention is that in Mary Kay, they have a award called the Go Give Award. And that award is, in Mary Kay, they have 5 different seminars. So a seminar would be like one of our conventions. So they have 5 conventions every summer because of the amount of people they have. Well, out of each seminar, they choose one person a month that is the Go Give representative for that month. And that means somebody who reaches out to other people. They don't work based on making money off of somebody. They really have a heart for people and not just working with people that make them money. Now, once they go to their seminar, one person is selected at each seminar as the national Go Give. So my mom was nominated twice as the monthly Go Give, and then she was nominated once as the annual Go Give. And so that's really it's just a huge award, a huge honor, and that just tells you her heart a little bit more. And so I'm so excited to have my mom, Penny Kelly, on here, and I will let her take it away.
Hi, gals. It is so great to be here with you tonight. And I have to say that one of the greatest benefits is sitting beside a daughter who, when she was growing up, didn't always think you were great and didn't think that necessarily what you were doing was great. But to be able to sit here and hear her say those things about me is just, it's amazing. And there's a little saying that what is caught is so much more important than what is taught. And so as women, we have the privilege of becoming who we want to be, of choosing to change the trajectory of our life if that's what we choose. And so the first thing that I want to do is to congratulate each one of you, because when you decide to start your own business, that's a big deal, and I know that when you first start, you feel like a little deal and you just think, oh my gosh. And then, you'll hit some roadblocks and you'll think, oh my gosh, can I do this? But you know what? Just congratulations to each one of you for letting your heart be stirred enough to begin to dream and to think, maybe this can make my life better. Maybe it can be embellished by being a part of this company. And so the first thing I wanted to do was give you each applause. And then as I think about all of the years, my greatest joy is in talking and encouraging women to really give themselves permission to be all they can be. Now, what does that mean, really, to be all you can be? Well, I think that as little girls, we all, excuse me one second. We all have little girl dreams. And yet, as we grow up, so many times our life takes different directions. And we have disappointments. We have things happen to us that don't encourage our dreams, that we think, a great life is for everybody else, but it's not for me. I had a consultant that said that when she was a little girl, she would be driving in the car with her mom, and they would drive by a country club close to their home. And she would say, "Mom, what is that?" And the mom said to her, "Honey, that's not for people like us." And so she grew up believing that that kind of life was not for somebody like her. And so many different messages that we get through our lives end up saying that we need to have less than, that it's okay. And I want to give you a teaching that I had that just means so much to me, and I hope that it will to each one of you, because by this story, I want you to be able to give yourself permission to do whatever you want to do, and to know that the reason that it's in your heart is because God put it in your heart, and people are waiting for you to help them go to the next level in their lives as well. I was asked to speak at our convention one year, and they asked me to speak on abundant mentality. And I was so excited because I'm a big thinker. I love to, for me, not only personally to think and dream big, but I like to pass that on to everyone that I'm around. I was so excited about it, but I thought, a lot of the people, of the women that I'm going to be talking to, don't really in their heart believe that it's okay to have more than enough. They think that, first of all, we all hear that money is the root of all evil, and people will take that, but that's not it. It's the love of money is the root of all evil. And so we've got to stop and look at that. And so I thought, so I just prayed and I said, God, how can because I knew as soon as they introduced me and gave my topic that they would just pull the curtains of their mind and not want to listen, because if you think that having more than enough is not okay, then that's going to hook you from the very beginning. That's going to keep you. So I have always had a really giving heart, but as Kymber just said, my husband and I mean, we didn't have anything to give. So it didn't really matter how much how much I wanted to give. There was nothing to give. And so if I wouldn't have come to the point in my life where I allowed myself to have more than enough, then some of the dreams that have come true for me could not have ever happened. So what I wanted to do, I thought, how am I going to introduce myself? How am I going to introduce what I say so that people don't shut down? And so here's the message that God just gave me this beautiful message, and it has been so powerful for so many. When we are in our comfort zone, now a lot of people think that if you dream bigger or you want a little bit more, that's being greedy. And so what happens is we become comfortable in our uncomfortableness. And what happens is we know at least we don't have enough money to pay rent or the utilities or to get a different car. And we think, but that's okay. I'm just, I'm not going to be greedy. But what happens is when we stay in that place and maybe you have a dream of having your own home or a bigger home or helping your parents or sending your children to a special school, whatever it is. But when you think it's for everybody else but me, then that totally stops you. That stops you and all of the people that can benefit if you would allow God to flow that into your own life. So here we are in our comfort zone, and the problem within the comfort zone is that's the most selfish place we can be. I want you to think about that a second. Our comfort zone is the most selfish place we can be. Why? Because that's all we think about. We don't have enough money for this. We can't do this. We can't let our kids do that. No, you can't get those kind of shoes. No, I would like to help over here, but I can't. Mm-hmm. It's so full of you that God can't participate. And it's the most selfish place that we can live in. Now, what would we do if we don't live in that comfort zone? If we want to move out of a comfort zone and give ourselves permission to do that, then what we can do is step into the God zone. And gals, the God zone is where you come alive. Because when you begin to dream some of those little girl dreams, and when you begin to see things that are so much bigger that you know that you can't accomplish it without God's help, that's the God zone. And that's when you get excited. And that's when you draw people. And enthusiasm in the Greek means God within. And so you begin to allow yourself to be a gold. I mean, to do Ruby, senior Ruby, to go up all of your levels, and then your children are watching you. And I'm so grateful that I have chosen to live in the God zone, because one of my personal dreams has always been schools. And now we have schools in Africa. And gals, would I have ever had that if I would have thought that I was just selfish and I just, it's okay if I don't have anything? I wouldn't. And so I can do so many things for so many people. And what I want each one of you to do is to think about, okay, where am I stopping? Where am I saying, no, I can't do that. It's for everybody else, because that's just not true. It's just not true. Is it scary? Yeah. And you know what? A lot of times it's pretty discouraging, because we'll work with people and they will tell us they'll do something and they don't. Have any of you experienced that at all? Mm-hmm. And so sometimes, when those times come and they're so discouraging, we just think, well, okay, I guess I'm not meant to do that. Well, this business is the best self-paced personal improvement program around. Gals, above everything, above any money you make, any car you earn, any trip you take, the thing that is most important is the woman that you become. And because of my business, and this is my secret to success for you, give up on giving up. Give up on giving up, and allow God to go ahead and knock off the rough edges that need to be knocked off, and be willing to learn and to grow, because your business will do that. But just give up on giving up and step into that dream. And as we get off this call tonight, I just want you to think, maybe it's okay. And you know what? As soon as you give yourself permission, you have leaders that have gone through the same things over and over again that you have. The discouragements, the no's, the I don't want to work today, all those things. But also, as they have pushed through those no's, they've gotten on the other side, and they're providing some amazing, amazing benefits for themselves and their families. So thank you. I could, after 39 years, I could talk all night, but I just want to thank you for allowing me to talk to you. And I want you to think about stepping into the God zone, because gals, miracles can happen when you really begin to believe for something that's way bigger than anything that you think you could create. So thank you so much.
Wow, that was just incredible. Thank you so much, Penny, for sharing that. It's just so neat how God works. Kymber's been an incredible encouragement to me, and Amber, we've gotten to know her and love her, and she would always tell us these stories about her mom. And I know that Kymber's done that with her own team too, interwoven all the stories from her mom. And so we've heard some of your stories, like even the one about going to the hotel and they didn't have the extra roll-away bed, and how you didn't get angry. You just were like, well, how can we fix this situation? And just your positivity and your outlook on life is incredible. And you actually remind me a lot, and you're not old enough to be, but you remind me of my grandma Jane, who she's in heaven now, but she was the same, just the God zone. I mean, I could hear her saying that kind of same thing. And, so many of us on our teams, we do have the faith in God, and we want to think positively, and we want to believe God's promises and that he has a future for our lives. And yet sometimes there's that negative chatter in there. And so I guess my first little question for you would just be, what do you do to overcome those days and those times that I'm sure you've had over the years? How do you keep yourself grounded and keeping the affirmations and the positivity going?
That's a super question. And I think that one of the keys during those times is to reach up. And what I mean by that is to reach up to someone who is at a higher level than you are, that has a position that you have not been to yet, because anyone who has done that is going to understand exactly how you feel. And they're going to listen to you, but then they're going to help you get up and not lay there and roll in it. And so that would be number one, is to reach up. And number two is to really get in touch with yourself. Is there a certain song that that brings you back? Do you have a poem? Do you have a little video? Do you have something that just charges you? And so we have a choice. Scripture says that we need to be transformed by the renewing of our mind. And so what does that mean? I think of kids, little transformers. And you have a little car and then you bend it around and it's this man. And so literally our minds can be transformed by the renewing of our mind if we will do that. But we've got to understand that we don't stay fixed. It's kind of, I was raised on a dairy farm, and you know what? The cows didn't stay milked. We had to milk them in the morning and had to milk them at night. And your brain, because you have all that chatter, and because the majority of the world does not live in the same place, you've got to reach up. And then the other thing that I want to connect with that is be careful who you go to when you're feeling discouraged, because a lot of times we want to talk to somebody who's going to feel discouraged with us. And that's the last thing we need to do. You want someone to hear you and really, give them your ear. I mean, you want to give them your ear and your heart as you're listening, but you certainly don't want to you don't want to get into that negative place, because then you get off and then you have two people down in the dumps. So that's how I would suggest that.
That's great. I'm going to ask another question, and then I know our team has questions. I'm sure Kymber's does too. But one thing that you touched on was that you were successful at a young age. You were successful with Mary Kay, and you'd earned the car, which was a tremendous, huge deal. Still is today, I'm sure, with Mary Kay. So, and then you had to step back because you felt like your life was out of balance. And I know that's something that a lot of us can have right here, and me included, have struggled with. So tell us more about that and how you came to that decision and how you worked through it and came back.
Okay. When I started Mary Kay, I loved what I saw. I loved being my own boss, earning free cars, getting recognized for that, making great money. I mean, with my husband earning $300 a month, we needed cash, for all of the luxuries like utilities and rent and, those kind of things. So I was so focused, and I just worked, ate, slept, and drank Mary Kay. And what I found is this, and this is such a good principle for me to share with you gals, is the world tells us that when you get the right husband, the right house, the right car, the right position, the right, that's going to be the answer to life. And that's when you're going to be happy. Well, guess what? That's not true. I didn't know the Lord personally at that time. And so I had a huge gap in my life. And so I didn't have that relationship. And with me eating, sleeping, and drinking, and then reaching this, and they say, you're so young, you're so this, you're so that. And I'm thinking, is this all there is? I mean, because it was empty. It was empty. And so that's why I resigned. As I look back, I mean, I know that's been part of my journey, but as I look back now, gosh, I wish I would have, how we wish we would have. Any of you have those? But it would have been so great if I would have had someone that could have given me some vision so that I didn't have to go through that process. Although, as I was a director, I was with Mary Kay for 7 years, then out 7 years. During that 7 years, I came to know the Lord personally, and I had my kids, and then it was stirring in my heart to, number one, tell women, just what I did with you all, is it doesn't matter how much money you make or whatever. If you do not have your life in the right priority system of God first, family second, and career third, you're going to get anywhere that you go and it's going to be empty. So don't believe that lie, because that's what the world wants us to believe. Because once you earn something, you go right back to work the next day. Don't you, Amanda? You just keep on. I mean, so it's a personal growth. And I just thought of one other thing I wanted to. Was that helpful? Was that good? Okay, I know what else. And so then when I came back in, I had this intense desire to, like I said, to tell women that it's not about the material things, that your heart's going to be satisfied, but it was about helping women to stay at home with their children. And Kimberly, when she was 21, as most of you know, she had ovarian cancer. And if I would have had a normal job, there is no way that I could have gone out there every 2 weeks and stayed with her during the time that she had her chemo treatments out in California. And so because I made choices early on to work through the disappointments, to work through the joys, to build other women, then I could be with her. And what's any better? There were other gals there in the hospital, and they were from other states, and their families couldn't come. So see how you're preparing yourself, and hopefully none of you will ever have to go through anything like that. But it makes you a stronger woman. And when I came back in to Mary Kay, my other point was just, we believe so much in other people. Isn't it easy, gals, to say, oh my gosh, you're so amazing. You did this so great. But you know what? We don't do that very much with ourselves. We usually say all the opposite things to ourselves, don't we? And so I just want to pour belief in women, because gals, I'll tell you what, we're amazing. We are multitaskers. We can figure out whatever it is that needs to be done. We can get it done. And I love sayings. There's another saying that we are into microwaving. God, on the other hand, is usually into marinating. And so many times we want what we want yesterday. And you know what? I found that there's a process. There's a process. And so as I look back through my 39 years, I was a 39-year overnight success. And I wouldn't have been if I wouldn't have, a long time ago, given up on giving up.
Wow, I love that. I love God's into marinating. We're wanting microwave, but he's marinating us. That's awesome.
Yes.
That's great.
You know what? Let me go ahead, because this priority thing I know can be pretty challenging. I think one of the misnomers that we have many times is that we think that we're going to get in balance and be in balance all the time. And that's never going to happen, gals. What you're going to find is that, just for instance, this last week, we were all playing in Vail. And so we were totally out of balance. We were up there playing. But when we come back home, then we get back home and then we go back to work and we do the things we need to do. And then when you go have a convention, you're totally out of balance. But then you come back. So what you're going to be out of balance some of the times, but in balance all of the times. So, you pour into people, and don't get too structured and regimented about that, because then we try to manipulate and control life. And you know what? That's God's job. He's the one who takes care of that. And I think what we need to learn to do is just to roll with it and learn how to be flexible. So I hope that's helpful for some of you. If you're thinking you need to have, 5 minutes here and 5 minutes here and 5 minutes over here, and it very seldom works that way.
That's great. What do you think, Kymber? Do we want to just open it up for questions, or?
Sure.
Okay. being quiet. Just wave like this if you want to ask a question. I'll take off your mute.
Is Amanda waiting? Okay.
Rebecca, I have a question.
Okay.
So, Penny, how long have you been with Plexus? Or are you with Plexus?
No, I'm not. No.
So, Kymber, you are.
Yeah. Yes.
But Penny, are you using the product?
Oh, yes.
Okay, awesome.
Kimberly and I started using the products together about 2.5 years ago.
So,
Yes, I love the products.
So, Kymber, what's it like having a mom that is this inspirational? Does it make you want to reach out to other women and help them to do the same thing?
Yeah. When I was talking the other day, and I mean, seriously, I feel like I've been given a gift that I have, an inspirational mother like this, mentor and role model. And when I reach up, I always go to her, and I'm always texting her and calling her and asking advice. And so, growing up, and I feel like we learned so much just in our home. And then now, we worked together in Mary Kay for a long time. And then now, I feel like because I've been given that gift, I want to be able to share, the things I've learned from her with others. So yes, it definitely makes me want to reach out even more, wants me. I've had a hard time speaking today, everybody. Yes, I don't know if that answered your question, but it definitely does.
It does. So then I have one other question. What is your number one takeaway that you could give to the rest of us that would help us to keep being inspired to continue on? I mean, I have a lot of really strong women on our team, and it's really cool to see them. But what I think the most is that our team doesn't have boundaries. So we can do stuff like this together because we're one Plexus. And I'm not used to that.
Did you want me to answer or her? I'm assuming her.
Well, no, I think I would like to see what both of you say, because you say you are a lot like your mom in the way that you talk. And so I guess I want to see if you both have that same inspiration to have as a takeaway. I know that for women to be empowered, they have to have strong women because it takes a village. So that's why I want to hear from two villagers and not maybe just one.
Yeah. Okay, so what was the question again?
What do you think could be your number one takeaway to give to us to take with us down the road, basically?
Okay, my number one thing that I would leave with you that will totally take you to success in everything you do is give up on giving up.
I had something great to say, and it just kind of went out of my mind. So let me think for just 1 second. I would say that two things. First of all, I feel like when we start working our Plexus business, and I did this exact same thing, a lot of times we think, and I think this can be in any business, not just Plexus, but I kind of thought I'd get to a point where my team would carry on and I could kind of relax. So then I would kind of start thinking, why isn't my team doing it? Why isn't my team doing this? Why isn't my team doing that? Come on, team. Hey, I'll post more on my team page. What can I do? And so I think the number one thing, one of the things is not getting relaxed and expecting other people to do it, but to know kind of like with my husband and I, it's like, okay, it all started with us, and then we have our kids. Okay. It all started with us. And so we always have to come back to us. What are we wanting to create in our family? What life? It always comes back to us. And so to remember, it always comes back to you. It doesn't matter if your team's not doing anything. It doesn't matter if your customers are dropping off. It always comes back to you. And so what I would say, what do you do with that? Is that you always always take a step back and you say, okay, what I'm doing is not working. So what can I do different? It's that whole, you keep doing what you're doing, you'll keep getting what you've got. And so, if we're, working and we're thinking, you know what, my customers are dropping off, my team's not working, whatever it is stepping back. Okay, am I doing IPAs? You know what, I'm really not. I've gotten lazy in that and I'm just scrolling Facebook. So basically I would say, I feel like we blame things on other people a lot of the time, but it always has to come back to us.
The other thing that I just want to mention is that if you can always realize that there's more than enough of everything. And what I mean by that is you are going to have people that you talk to that join other companies. You're going to have people you talk to that join another friend, and they're going to be their team member. And if you can always keep your hand open and just know that you don't own anybody, and that more than anything, you want to help them have their best life. And if they choose to go with someone, you release them and bless them. And just know there's more than enough. And when you live and build your business with your own personal integrity, God can really work with that. I mean, you can have lots of blessings. And are you always going to see it done that way? No. But you want to always be able to look in the mirror and know that you're doing it that way. And you're always going to be supported with the support you support with. And as strong women, you said that you have a lot of strong women on your team. And you know what? Strong women are drawn to doing their own thing. That's why it's so wonderful, is because we get a chance to do our own thing. And so just know there's more than enough of everything. It doesn't matter if 1 or 10 or 100 go somewhere else or with some other company. The right amount is there for you. So don't get caught. Again, that's a poverty mentality. Just know there's more than enough. There's more than enough, and be grateful for that.
Yeah. And then I think I've shared this before, but growing up, I told you my parents have the largest used furniture store in Colorado. Well, people would come to my dad and he would help other people open used furniture stores in Colorado Springs. And people would always say, why would you do that? They're your competitor now. But my parents always taught us there's always more than enough. They're not a competitor. They're somebody for him to work with. And so I feel like that's so valuable because, yes, it can be frustrating if I see somebody go with another company or another team or a different friend or whatever it is. But I'm like, you know what? It wasn't their time to be on my team. If they're going to be on my team, then it will happen. There's more than enough for everybody. And, I know a lot of times in network marketing, people will say, well, it's just saturated. Everybody I know does it. Everybody I talk to already has a ambassador that they're working with. Everybody. But the bottom line is there's more than enough for everybody.
To address the saturation, I always just kind of chuckle because people do say that. I mean, Mary Kay is 53 years old now. And you would think if anything's ever saturated, we'd be saturated with Mary Kay. But the thing is, anytime you're working with something that's consumable, have you ever said that this country's saturated with sugar? No, because we're going to use it up and we're going to go buy some more. So that's just, that's an excuse that only you believe because it's not true. Saturation is just not a true thing. And especially with Plexus with only 8 years. Oh my goodness, talk about ground floor gals. You are ground floor. Oh boy, so much potential there.
Can you share a little bit from my team that doesn't know your story about how, because I know a lot of us on here, we have moms that we really wish would join our team and do Plexus with us. Because I always cry when I see those Diamond documentaries of the two moms that, are on the same Plexus team. And so I would love for you to share the story about how, and like you kind of touched on it, like, you're happy for that person, and I do that. Like I'm guilty. This week I had 2 Facebook friends that I know went with a different company, and part of me just wants to have a pity party and say, oh, because I'd reached out to them and I thought they would be great with Plexus. And so it always puts a little dig in my heart. But you're right. There's always more than enough, and God has the whole picture in mind. And So I just think it's neat and it's cool that you are both in two different network marketing companies, but yet you totally walk hand in hand and support and encourage one another. So share that whole story.
Okay. Do you want to share that?
So just about like when I started Plexus, or is that what you mean?
Yeah, just like, I mean, because you were in Mary Kay and then and your mom was, and then you made the decision to go Plexus, but your mom didn't follow along with you. Like that was one of the first questions. I knew that would be one of the first questions out of the gate. Is your mom doing Plexus too?
Yeah. So it was, you know, I did Mary Kay. I was working, and so when my husband and I got married, after a few years, I got pregnant and I was super sick. So at that time, I could not keep my business, my Mary Kay business going, because I throw up the whole time on a PIC line. I mean, I'm super sick. So I stopped working my Mary Kay business. So after a few years at home, I was doing a bunch of different things. I was actually buying furniture at garage sales for my parents' store, a bunch of different stuff. And at one point, I started to see Jen Hawkins posting, and I was very annoyed and irritated. But I was intrigued by it, very intrigued because of my background. So just fast forward where I just felt like, you know what, let's just learn about this. So we met, and my mom wanted to try the product. So I joined, and she started the products. And then when that happened, Christy is actually my sponsor, and Christy Fontenot, which is Jen Hawkins' mom. She said, can we put you on the team page? And so I said, sure. And when they did that, I started seeing, it was the Destination Diamond page, which it was like, oh my gosh, like 8 million people joining every day, and, all these testimonies. And so I started to learn about it. And so I started thinking, what if this is it? I feel like, it's hard to explain. It's kind of like a divorce. Like I felt like I was cheating on Mary Kay, because Mary Kay has always been my dream. And I was so internally torn, but I didn't tell anybody. So for about 2 months, I was just torn. And so I finally was like, I really feel like this is something I'm supposed to do. So I, went to my mom. I remember sitting in her bathroom and saying, Mom, I feel like Plexus is it. I feel like this is the what if for our family. I feel like this is going to change everything. And I'm so torn. We've always dreamed about doing Mary Kay together, once I start that back up again, and we've always worked together, and it's been our dream. And, and then I'm just crying. And so of course, she said, and I don't remember how it all went, but she said, of course that's going to be hard, but you know what? I want you to go prosper. I want you to go, what did you say exactly? Prosper, and basically go do what you feel led to do. And, Mary Kay, because of my Mary Kay training, that's why I'm an Emerald in Plexus at this point, because of my Mary Kay training. Mary Kay led me to Plexus. And so, of course, my mom, released me, and it was hard. I remember I started working, and convention was 2 weeks later. I went for 1 day, and I cried the whole time because I felt like I was like divorcing Mary Kay. But through it all, now it's just like, thank the Lord that, that I was able to, that I chose that, because we both can see that this is where I'm supposed to be. And I know Mary Kay brought me here. So she has always been amazing. And we always get that question about, how does my mom respond?
And for me as the mom, there were two choices. I could either be really, really sad and really, really hurt, or I could celebrate for Kimberly and be really happy that she was so excited and so passionate about reaching other people and helping them be better. So what I feel, and so that was the route I chose was, and yeah, sure, it would be great if she was with me in Mary Kay, but I just see how each of our influences are in different companies. So we're in different directions, but we do the same thing, and we're having such a great time. And I've just been amazed to watch Kymber do the things she's done in her business. So it's just about me enjoying her passion and her success, and just seeing what that has done for their family is just huge. So I don't have any plans to come over into Plexus, and she doesn't have any plans to come into Mary Kay. We're both thriving where we are. We love what we do, and we're both making a difference.
Mm-hmm.
That's so awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Just such an inspiration to all of us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else have questions? Should I unmute so that we know for sure? I don't know how to know if they have questions.
It's probably okay. They can also send them on the chat at the bottom of the screen.
I think it's okay if I close with this is going to be my closing inspiration for all of you. There was a little boy that went to school one day, and his teacher asked the class to write a story about what they wanted to be when they grew up. And the little boy was so excited because he knew exactly what he wanted to do. So he wrote this amazing story about he was going to have this horse farm, and he talked about the stables and the rolling fences and the horses and the people that he was going to hire. And he just had this big dream in his head. So he just spent a lot of time and just poured into the story. So the next day he took it to school and he turned it into his teacher so proudly. And in a little bit, the teacher asked him to come up front. And so the little boy went up front, and he took his paper and he held it out to him, and it had a giant red F in the middle of it. And he said, "Here, I want you to take this back." He said, "Don't you realize you're poor and you're going to always be poor?" And he said, "I want you to rewrite this story." And so, every time I tell this story, it's like someone kicks me in the stomach when I tell that part. And so the little boy took his story home, and he asked his dad. He told him what had happened. He said, "Dad, what do I do?" And he said, "Son, I can't tell you what to do because it's your dream." And so the little boy went back to school the next day, and he went up to his teacher. He took his story, and he said, "Here, you can keep your F. I'm going to keep my dream." And so, gals, keep your dream. Don't let anyone reign on the dreams that are in your heart, because they're supposed to be walked in as realities. So always keep your dream.
Wow, thank you so much. I just really appreciate you taking the time to come on and just bless our team. You've been a total blessing to our team, hearing you speak, and just an honor.
Well, and it has been for me as well. So thank you for letting me be on this call.
All right, thank you so much.